The weight of a legacy built on faith, family, and reality television has come crashing down in a way no one could have predicted. For the Duggar family, the spotlight has shifted from wholesome entertainment to a relentless glare of legal battles, family fractures, and personal crises. And at the center of this storm, facing a very personal battle that has left the family and millions of fans deeply concerned, is Joy-Anna Duggar. While the family has weathered scandals before, the news of Joy-Anna's health crisis has struck a chord that resonates differently, touching on the very real, very human vulnerability that exists behind the polished Instagram posts and the carefully curated public appearances. Welcome back to Femora, where we break down the stories that matter, the headlines that shape our world, and the human moments that connect us all. Today, we are diving deep into a developing story that has shaken the Duggar family and their devoted fan base to its core. We are talking about Joy-Anna Duggar, a beloved daughter, mother, and sister who is currently facing a severe health crisis that has landed her in the hospital. This is not just another headline in the ongoing saga of the Duggar family. This is a serious, urgent, and deeply troubling situation that has left her loved ones and supporters praying for her recovery. We'll be exploring what we know about her condition, the family's reaction, and how this latest crisis fits into the chaotic narrative that has defined the Duggar family's recent years. The news first began to trickle out, not through official statements or flashy press releases, but through the quiet, anxious whispers of social media and the concerned updates from those closest to the family. The initial reports were vague, but they carried an unmistakable tone of urgency and fear. For a family that has often lived its life in the public eye, this was a moment where the walls seemed to close in and the world was asked to step back and respect a family's private nightmare. Sources close to the family indicated that Joy-Anna was hospitalized under circumstances that were far from routine. The speculation was immediate and intense, with fans and followers around the world sending up prayers and hoping for the best. This crisis comes at a time when the Duggar family is already dealing with an immense amount of public scrutiny and internal turmoil. The arrest of Joy-Anna's brother, Joseph Duggar, on child molestation charges has been a devastating blow to the family's reputation. Joseph was arrested in March and charged with lewd and lascivious behavior against a minor, a situation that has forced the family to confront some of their darkest demons. Joy-Anna, like many of her siblings, has been navigating the emotional fallout of that scandal, and now she is facing a health battle of her own. It is a double blow that seems almost unimaginable in its cruelty, trying to process the grief and horror of a brother's arrest while simultaneously fighting for your own health. Joy-Anna's recent public appearances have been marked by a visible struggle. She has been open about the mental and emotional toll that the family's scandals have taken on her. In a recent podcast appearance with her sister Ginger, Joy-Anna described the past few months as the hardest time I've ever gone through. She spoke of feeling heavy, of struggling every day, and of leaning on her faith just to get through the darkness. I feel like every day just feels so heavy, she admitted, revealing a vulnerability that few in the public eye are willing to share. This was a woman who was already on the brink, trying to hold together a family and a sense of normalcy while the world around her seemed to be crumbling. Now, her physical health has joined the long list of battles she is fighting. There is a heartbreaking irony in the fact that Joy-Anna, who has always been portrayed as one of the more resilient and down-to-earth members of the Duggar clan, is facing this crisis. She and her husband, Austin Forsyth, have built a life for themselves that is more independent than some of her siblings. They've focused on their marriage and their 3 young children, Gideon, Evelyn, and Gunnar. Joy-Anna has often been seen as a calming presence, a woman who finds joy in the simple things, home renovations, outdoor adventures, and raising her children. But Even the strongest among us have a breaking point, and it appears that the accumulated stress of the past few years has taken a severe toll. The concern from fans has been immediate and overwhelming. Across social media platforms, the hashtag Pray for Joy-Anna and hashtag Joy-Anna Duggar have been trending, with thousands of fans expressing their shock and heartbreak. The Duggar family has a massive following, and while their fan base has fractured over the years due to the various scandals, the news of Joy-Anna's hospitalization appears to have united many in a shared sense of concern. People who have watched her grow up on television, who have seen her navigate the challenges of marriage and motherhood, are now watching her fight for her life. The outpouring of support is a testament to the genuine affection that the public holds for her, separate from the controversies that have engulfed her family. This is not the first time the family has faced a health scare. Joy-Anna herself has been through some terrifying moments with her son Gunnar. In late 2024, she rushed her then infant son to the emergency room after he developed severe respiratory issues. He was struggling to breathe, and the experience was harrowing for the young mother. She documented the ordeal, sharing how her son had to be put on oxygen for 2 days and how the doctors suspected he might have asthma. That experience was a nightmare for her. It's a cruel twist of fate that she is now the one lying in a hospital bed, fighting against an ailment that has yet to be fully disclosed to the public. The silence from the Duggar camp has been deafening. In a family that has historically been open about their lives, the lack of information about Joy-Anna's condition is a clear signal that this is a very serious, very private matter. It is important to remember that despite their public personas, they are a family dealing with a crisis. The decision to close ranks and protect Joy-Anna's privacy is understandable. This is a time for healing, not for speculation or gossip. However, the absence of official updates has only fueled the anxiety of the fans who are desperate for any sign that she is getting better. The situation is further complicated by the ongoing legal dramas that have been following the family like a shadow. The arrest of Josh Duggar for child sexual abuse material, the subsequent sentencing, and the recent transfer of his prison location have kept the family in the tabloids. Now, with Joseph Duggar's pending court dates and the additional charges against him and his wife Kendra, the family is under siege from multiple angles. This is a family that has been fighting to keep their faith and their family unit intact, but the external pressures are relentless. It's hard to imagine how Joy-Anna has been coping with all of this. The pressure of being a Duggar is immense, and the constant scrutiny and judgment from the public is a heavy burden to bear. This pattern of trauma and crisis is not new to the Duggar family. The IBLP, Institute in Basic Life Principles, the religious organization that has guided their lives, has been accused of fostering an environment where abuse can occur and be covered up. The family's cousins and estranged relatives have spoken out, calling for investigations and accountability. Deanna Duggar, Jim Bob's sister, has been vocal in her belief that the whole family system should be investigated, citing the sickening behavior of her nephews. Amy Duggar King, the outspoken cousin, has been a fierce advocate for the victims, including the alleged victim of Joseph Duggar. This family is fractured, and the healing process has been slow and painful. In the midst of this family drama, Joy-Anna has attempted to carve out her own identity. She is a mother who loves her children fiercely. She is a wife who supports her husband. But the weight of being a Duggar is impossible to escape. The news of her hospitalization is a stark reminder that behind the headlines and the scandals are real people dealing with real pain. It's easy to forget that when we watch their lives play out on social media and in the news. But Joy-Anna's current situation humanizes her in a way that transcends the drama of her family. It forces us to see her not as a reality TV star, but as a person who is struggling and needs help. It is also important to note that Joy-Anna has been navigating her relationship with her family in a public way. She and her sister Ginger have often been seen as the more progressive members of the Duggar clan. distancing themselves somewhat from the strict rules of their upbringing. In their podcast, Ginger and Joy-Anna spoke candidly about their struggles, but their comments were met with some backlash. Critics felt that they were making the Joseph Duggar scandal about themselves and their own hard seasons, while ignoring the real victim, the 9-year-old girl who was allegedly molested. This controversy added another layer of public criticism to Joy-Anna's life, even as she was trying to process a horrific family event. I feel like the more I talk about it publicly, the more it just gets rubbed in our faces, and I kind of want to just move on with life in some ways, Joy-Anna said on the podcast, demonstrating her exhaustion with the public nature of her family's pain. She has been in a no-win situation. If she speaks out, she is accused of making it about herself. If she stays silent, she is accused of complicity. Now, with her health failing, the outside world has been forced to take a step back and reconsider what she must be going through internally. The constant pressure, the judgment, the trauma of her brother's arrests, it's enough to break anyone. The impact on her children cannot be overlooked. Gideon, Evelyn, and little Gunnar need their mother. Gunnar in particular has had his own health challenges, and the bond between Joy-Anna and her youngest son is incredibly strong. For a mother who has been so attentive to her children's health, to now be the one needing care is a reversal that is emotionally devastating for the whole family. Austin Forsyth, her husband, has been by her side, and the support they have for each other is evident. Austin has always been a steady presence in Joy-Anna's life, and he is now tasked with holding the family together while his wife fights for her health. He is the one who has to explain to their children why their mother is in the hospital, and he is the one who has to remain strong for her. It is an immense burden. The financial implications of such a health crisis, combined with the legal fees from the Duggar family's ongoing legal battles, could be staggering. While the family has wealth from their television days, the costs of defense attorneys and medical care can quickly deplete any savings. The stress of financial strain adds yet another dimension to the emotional turmoil that the family is facing. This is a family that is in crisis on every possible front. The faith that has been Joy-Anna's anchor is now being tested more than ever. She has spoken openly about leaning on the Lord to get her through difficult times. In her podcast appearance, she mentioned a song that talked about turning a valley of death into a valley of worship. That analogy speaks to her deep belief that even in the darkest moments, there is a purpose and a path to healing. It is that faith that is likely sustaining her now, even as she lies in a hospital bed. She said, "I think I've had to lean on the Lord more than I ever have, which is a good thing. That's a positive thing." In this family, faith is not just a belief system, it is a survival mechanism. And right now, it is the only thing that makes sense in a world that has become chaotic and confusing. As we monitor this situation, it's crucial to separate the sensationalism from the real human story. The Duggar family has been plagued by controversy, yes, and their actions have been rightfully scrutinized. But in this moment, a woman is sick. A mother is fighting for her life. Her husband is terrified. Her children are confused. Her parents, despite their own many flaws, are likely praying for a miracle. This is the heart of the story, and it should not be overshadowed by the scandal. The fans who have followed Joy-Anna for years are not just watching a headline. They are genuinely concerned. They have seen her grow, struggle, and triumph. They have seen her as a young girl on television, a newlywed, a mother. She is a part of their lives, and they want to see her get better. The reaction online is not just rubbernecking. It's an outpouring of genuine compassion. People are sharing their own stories of health struggles, offering prayers, and sending positive thoughts. It is a reminder that despite our differences, we are all connected by our shared humanity. It is also a reminder that the reality of reality TV is often a facade. The happiness and wholesomeness that was broadcast for years was hiding a much darker reality. Joy-Anna, like many of her siblings, has been navigating that dissonance her entire life. The public scrutiny, the legal battles, the shame of her brother's actions, all of this has contributed to a heavy burden that has manifested physically. The mind-body connection is powerful, and for someone who has been in a state of constant high alert and emotional distress, a physical breakdown is almost inevitable. Let's take a moment to reflect on the timeline of events that have led to this breaking point. It's been years of relentless pressure. The family faced a massive scandal when Josh Duggar was outed as having molested his sisters, the cancellation of their show, the trial and conviction of Josh, the constant media speculation, then the arrest of Joseph. Each blow has chipped away at the foundation of the family, and Joy-Anna has been in the middle of it. She has been publicly grieving, struggling to reconcile her love for her family with the horror of their actions. The fact that she is now hospitalized is a tragic testament to the emotional toll this has taken on her. The Duggar family is at a crossroads. They are dealing with the loss of their public image, the fractured relationships within their own family, and now the health of one of their key members. This is a make or break moment for them. Will they come together in support of Joy-Anna, putting aside their differences, or will the fractures in the family deepen? The signs point to the former, at least for now. The lack of public infighting in the wake of this news suggests that the family is circling the wagons. This is a family that, for all its issues, understands the importance of unity in a crisis. One of the more poignant aspects of this story is the response from the extended family. While some relatives like Amy and Deanna